let's just
All right.
right.
So
Hello.
competency number one. Why do we put it in number one? Because it's a strategy of our life. It's the vision of the bigger picture. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. How to avoid crisis by seeing the bigger picture right away. We are crisis managers. We will not let you go through the crisis without understanding your strategy.
Yes, and as you know, guys, we're using very important knowledge that helps us to improve our all results in our life. And everything starts with strategy. And if you don't have like your great results so far in your life, it doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means you don't have a strategy. And the number of which is responsible for the strategy is number one in your matrix. And of course, like who was born in last century, let's say 1991, something like this. We all have this number one in our matrix, but is it active? This is the big question. Yeah. And today we'll be talking about how it's very important to activate it and use it in our daily life.
And I want to tell you that we are qualified. Both of us have 2 degrees of higher education. We have a couple coaching schools. We know stuff from our clients, from our personal business life. And we would like to share our expertise and our experience because in our practice, we consistently see that people are going into direction of crisis because they don't know the real direction. We all have a real direction, the one that is given to us by our birthright. When we are born with numbers in our birth date. Those numbers are the focus points, are the points of growth. When you see the number, that means you have predisposition. You have an ability to unfold that number into something that is practical, that is beneficial, that is satisfying and fulfilling. When you see the numbers that are missing, and I'm talking about numbers 1 to 9, single numbers, those are the numbers you do not have to sweat about. Because no matter how much you learn, of course, you will learn throughout your life and expand those numbers into competencies. But no matter how much you work, it's not going to be natural to you. Some things are not natural. They're not necessarily your highest potential. So we are always going for something we don't have, while we can have relationships in the world with the people who have it. And that will make life easier because I'll do this, you'll do this, and together we can do everything. That's what bigger picture is about.
Yeah, and of course the strategy, this is the ability to choose the direction, yeah, to make decision to choose direction and keep it and protect it. Because in our life, when you wake up with your open eyes, you have everybody is really interested to take our attention from our like own way to grow to go on towards our goals. And strategy helps us to build it and actually to keep eye on the way we really want to go. And for these kind of competences, of course, you can go to university to learn it, how to use it. But basically, we're talking about our private competence in our, let's say, private life. Yeah, we're not talking about professional realization in our private life. Because most of the time when we live in our families, we need to take decisions. And sometimes, most of the time, if we don't have this ability, we're looking for like partner. Can you make the decision or what's your choice? Yeah, we really cannot make it in the right way. And of course, like knowing your date of birth is gonna help you to understand better why I'm doing this, why I'm not doing this. And of course, if you have one number one in your date of birth. It's one thing. If you have like two, three, four, five, sometimes six even number ones, this is like we need to sit and talk with you because this is like very strong competence, but most of the time, when you don't know how to use it in the right way, you really can go through difficult situation. And we with Svetlana here, we're expert in crisis, how to avoid it, and this is really a sign for you we really need to talk with you 100% as soon as possible, because otherwise this is like strong competence can be used in a not in the right way.
Absolutely. And it's not just about number one, it's about any number. If any number is only one, you see it once in your metrics, that's 50% of the quality is possible to accomplish. If you have two numbers, the same numbers, it's 100% of the quality. But if you have more than two, it's like an overload. You know how if you have a cup and you start pouring it into something, at some point, this what you're pouring is going to start spilling out. And so when you have too many of the same numbers, it's spilling out of you. It actually creates an environment that is overwhelming, not just for you, but also for your people around you. And we are making decisions on impulse because if you start thinking about the decision, it takes time, but it also gives you a lot of opportunities. And the way we see the bigger picture is not, this is what I want, and I need to do certain things for this. The way we see the bigger picture is, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And from you, all this vector of attention, all those points of possibilities become like a whole big sphere. And when you have a lot, you don't know where to go first. And the choice means you cut the rest of it out. Every time you are making a decision, subconsciously you understand, if I choose this partner, other 25 men are no longer mine. If I choose this woman as the mother of my children, I cannot look around all the time for another one. If I make decision for this business, other businesses are not going to be happening. But you know what happened with my clients a lot? I have the business idea. And that business idea has another 25 business ideas in it. And therefore, my focus is like this. It's never like that. And what happens, the impulse of, wow, I can do it. I can create a business. I can create a family. This is the energy of desire. And with the energy one, the strategy that we're talking about in your birthday, you want everything for myself. Me, myself, and I becomes a focus. But it is not polite and socially acceptable to want things for yourself. Therefore, I have a number of people who are born on 1 or 10s, for example, that come to my practice with one thing, but I cannot do it. Why not? If I do it for me, that means I will not be able to do it for my whole family. If I travel alone to Italy because I want to, I cannot take also my wife and two of my own children, and third child is from that wife, because it's much more expensive. But I want the Italy for 5 years now. Why don't you just go alone or take one child? What others will think about it? So if that's something that you experience as well, when you need everybody under your wing before you do something for you, that means you live against your energy. Your energy is about, I want it, I can do it, therefore it is for me. That's for I am making this decision to cut whatever I need to cut in order to be fulfilled. And once I'm fulfilled, I can give it to everybody else. I cannot give anything from the empty cup. I think you might have already experienced that.
And we really need to understand that without strategy, we don't just lose time, we lose energy. It's like very important to understand. With the energy, you can create things, you can attract things, and you can keep these things like closer to you. Without energy, you even don't see what you really need to do as a next step. And most of the people, we have a fear of a big decisions. Yeah, when we really need to take a big decision, like not on a daily base, like routine, what I really want to eat. Yeah, big decisions, even like just to you explain, Svetlana, when you decide to go to vacation, do you really need to take like all the kids, or maybe you're gonna have one kid with you, or like it doesn't matter which kind of decision you really need to take. At the one point, we really need to understand the level of the energy will provide us enough capacity to talk to the people, ability to understand other people, and ability to feel this situation. Yeah, because what really we afraid of? We're afraid of making these kind of big decisions because really don't want to be wrong. Yeah, there's always choice. Like this, right, left, yeah, or here, or this or this. And this is like very like energy consuming approach that really can lose our life, like just living without energy. And that's why it's very important to understand in our days we have incredible tools that are going to help us as a people to grow. And I'm talking about personal growth. Me personally, when I work with the clients, when they come and the first question is, do you have a strategy in your life? And Vasili, what kind of strategy? I just wake up and all right. And that's why we sit together and we explain to the clients what do you really need to pay attention on regarding your strategy. Because strategy gives us way, yeah, and we really need to have the enough energy not to lose this strategy because there's some numbers. For them, actually, it's very difficult to make any decisions. And once they did it, if there's another like situation, they can switch and change all these kind of decisions right away. And when you understand that up to the age of 33, you have like 100% of the energy in your body, you can do whatever you want. And just right on the next day, when you got like your 33rd, your date or birthday, your energy is like from 100 it goes directly like to the 30. There is no energy in your body, you don't think the same way, but what you really have, you have a fight, you have a conflict in your mind. And of course like strategy in this point is going to help you to keep your direction in the right position.
And I really want to bring the strategy to the focus right now, because for many people, strategy is a mystery. Strategy is not something you're going to do tomorrow. It's not something you're going to do 1 week from now. It is something that you're always doing because that's what leads you to the vision that you have. And usually the vision that we have is that I will work a lot, I will get a lot of money, then I will buy house or car or vacation or whatever. I'll get it and then I will be happy. And that state of happiness is actually the result. Every time when you are talking to people, try it today at home. What do you want in your life? They'll tell you something and ask them why and why and what do you need that for. And at the end of your why, you will hear it. And I want to feel this certain way. So that strategy of feeling a certain way is the most fulfilling strategy, because when you are running after a material number, that number will always increase, and that is rightfully so. We live in the material world. But if you're running for this material thing, once you have it, that's that. You have your climax, and that's that. And research was done to see how much release do you have, the energy explosion, when you buy an ice cream, or you buy a nice dress, or you buy a bigger car, or you buy whatever you buy. And it doesn't really matter because the amount of energy is pretty much the same, and the how long it lasts is not very so much. Maybe you're happy for ice cream 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and for the car 3 days. But after that, you are still looking for something, and that something is your state. So to create the state is extremely simple. Close your eyes, imagine yourself already gotten what you need to get, how you use it. In that moment, your mind creates a picture of that bigger accomplished life or bigger accomplished car or whatever else. And your body starts producing hormones that harmonize you with what you want. Your body actually starts training itself to look for this kind of hormones, for this kind of harmony. And once that happens, your mind starts looking for having more and more of that state, because when the mind is at ease, I already have it. I can have it at any moment. It stops going against your own plans and ideas. right? Once you have the idea, I want that, the mind goes, and I have to work for it, and I have to struggle with it, and I need to go to social media, and I have to tell people something about it. When that happens, your whole being, your inner child goes, I want the toy. I don't want this all this kind of work. Give me
Yeah.
the toy. So give your mind the toy. See your bigger picture. What if I have this? Not what if something bad happens, but what if I have this? And how would I look like if I have what my neighbor has? Oh, it's not even mine to want. What do I really want? Every time you feel it in your body, you train yourself to be the person that you need to be in order to have it. And then it becomes easy. I am that kind of person. So it is rightfully mine. And then the confidence kicks in, which is hormonal state of
Yeah.
I am okay. And if I'm okay, do I really need this or I need something else that makes me even more fulfilled?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And we're not talking about the motivation. Yeah, we're talking about the system that we can help you to create in order to build your strategy. And it doesn't matter how old you are, where do you live? Yeah, tomorrow can be 100% different in the best way because we have the right tools. And I really want to show you guys, we have a special calendars. Yeah, I have my calendar for
Close.
my personal year nine. Yeah, and every day you have an energy that can be used in the right position. And number one, we're talking about the day that we can build our strategy. For example, in March, I'm gonna have this opportunity one, two, three, three times. Three times I can work on this energy of the strategy. And we have this opportunity to work like every day. We don't need to wait for another year because we have 9 year cycle, but we don't need to wait for until like the first year. We don't need to wait for the like 9 month cycle because we have a 9 day cycle inside of each month. And that's why, guys, we really invite you, as you can see, I always like invite you somewhere. We invite you to go closer to this knowledge because once you understand how to build your strategy, you can build a strategy in your like private life or your professional organization. It doesn't matter where, because this energy can be with you as close as possible. Because when you understand what particular day is right now, today, you can feel it and use it in the right direction. And that's why we're so helpful with our clients, and we create for them fast realization because we are all born like Svetlana and I, we were born on the group 7. For those who's born on the 7th, 16th, or 25th, we have this natural power. We have this natural power, and we can share with you with like some magical way. And that's why you can see in our Zoom, we're using our background something like as a stars. Yeah.
Cosmic knowledge.
Star. Yeah.
Yeah. The people live according to people laws, but those laws sometimes are made to limit us in order for us to be within the constraint of the social acceptance. And we are always for those laws because we live in a society. But in addition to these laws, we have the universal laws. And within those laws, we are part of the nature. And as such, the nature always grows. There is not a moment when the nature does not grow. Even if everything is burned down, from underneath the new growth starting. Even if it was all flooded, 5 minutes later the sun comes out and starts drying everything. Itsy bitsy spider song, remember?
Yeah.
Off he goes again as soon as the sun is out. And we are like those spiders. The only difference that we have a neocortex is a very amazing ability to be different from the animals, that the animals live in the nature. If it's sun, they run and enjoy. When it's rain, they go under the tree. People do it differently because they have neocortex understanding of things. When things are not my way, I have to keep pushing and I have to exhaust myself and I have to get to the result that I've created for myself. Therefore, the strategy needs to be very, very flexible. I always do this within the constraint of this, but with the understanding of the universal rhythms and laws. And the calendar that Vasili was just describing is the calendar based on your date of birth. It's calculated specifically for you. It's not the same for everybody. And when you know your date of birth, you can receive this calendar. And by the way, on my website that we always put under the broadcast, payhip.com/success success store, you can find that explanation. It costs you nothing to just calculate your birthday so you understand what year are you living in. Because if it's the year of strategy, that is the year where you can start something new with the vision, not just starting something new. And vision is different for everybody because we are moving through our life archetypally. And we have our own lessons, we have our own exams, we have the moments when we step away from our stage of being an adult, a business owner, a father of the family, and we become a child. And now we are crying in the dark corner of our memory while our business is suffering. And we have the ways to come out from those archetypal repeating itself stories into something that actually produces a new view, a new you, something that you always wanted. But in order to do that, you really need to step away from everybody else's strategy. And when you are in a family, everybody has their own calendar, of course, because they're all born on a different day. They also have their own teachers. You sometimes are a teacher to your children, but sometimes the child is born just to teach you. And you know how interesting that happens? If your month, for example, is 3, but your child is born on the 3rd, that child will be teaching you all the time, and you will be learning from this child. But in which way? You're going to be crying because you would not understand why this child is giving me the instruction and command and constantly putting me in the position in which I have no other wiggle way, and I have to do the way the child wants from me. And while this child is so smart that I cannot teach them anything because they know their own thing, just because that's the child who came to teach you, because their energy is much stronger, because on the day of birth is the 100% of the energy of desire. But in your months, it's just, and what should I do about it? You don't have as strong as a position. And therefore, everything that you can know about yourself is a key that can open your strategy and what is really mine to do and create, and what is totally not mine. And am I walking my own way? By the way, I had a client, the child was born and the whole family started falling apart, and they could never understand why. And only looking at the numbers of the birthday, I could explain them what this child came to this family to teach. I had a child, and it's a terrible situation because, not a child, a client, a terrible situation because the child was almost born on the day of the birth. When the woman went to the clinic, the child died. And the child was absolutely 100% healthy, no problem whatsoever. The problem was in the family. And even for her to conceive at the age of 40 was a whole big deal because nobody wanted this child. And so when that child died, the whole family changed. Everything changed. And then 3 months later, she was pregnant with another child, even though she believed she would never be pregnant on the first day because all diagnoses said no. And when the child died, it was a huge devastation. And only looking at her birth information, I could see that she will have many children. She just needs to be in a family who is not limiting her in that, right? And for that, this family need to understand what their archetypes are about, what their energy is about, because they were focused on themselves. They were strategists. No, but we don't have enough money. No, but we don't have enough big enough house. If you're a strategist and that's what you want, get the house already. What the unborn child has to do with that? Everything. Because yours are not just the person, you're also a field. So when you have a vision, that vision leads somebody. And it, of course, needs to lead you first.
Yeah, 100%. And the strategy is when you live by direction, yeah. And Svetlana just was explaining how it we can see in our families, but at the same time, you have to remember that we have a strategy with our businesses as well. Because the day when you registered your company, this is the date of the birth, yeah, the birthday of the company. And really, we can calculate and can show you what's your personal year for the company is. And it means strategy is very powerful as well. Because, of course, we have a lot of tools, we have all the kind of coaches they can explain that to us like how to build your plan strategy, but we have a different approach that can help you how to build your strategy using your personal information. This is like written in your passport or your certificate of birth. Yeah, because nobody, to be honest, like when I first time saw this information 6 years ago, I was so impressed. I was so impressed when I took this information working with my project. We were developing interactive journals for kids who involved in sport, talking with the coaches and parents in order to help to unlock kids' potential better and faster through building the strategy, how to work with the kids, knowing the data breadth. And we can implement this knowledge everywhere. And that's why strategy, when you see the situation and you really know how to like react to this. Otherwise, when you go to into the very emotional mode, this is not good. And of course, we'll be talking about more in details about all the 9 competencies. Today, we just started this broadcast with competence number 1, but we really invite you for the next broadcast as well, because next time we'll be talking about number 2nd, yeah, number Svetlana 2, or we'll be talking about different.
Yeah. We will be going in the sequential order. And you need to understand that every person has a different strategy. Even if you're born on the same day, the strategy will be different because the vision is different, the school of life is different, the circumstance of your life is different. And without putting all of it into consideration, you cannot be clear. And I want to give you a very short story about a guy who was always working. He was chopping the wood chopper, and every day he would go and chop the wood. And he lived like that for 25 years. And during this time, he had 3 sons. And as soon as the sons were of age, he gave everybody an axe, and off they go chopping the wood. And never had enough money, never. No matter how much they chopped the wood, it was only enough to feed the family, barely. And at some point, he was so exhausted that he said, it's not working. I'm not going to the woods today. And he said, I'll spend this day in bed. So the wife comes around, get up already. What's going on? You're always going to chop the wood in the morning. It's already midday. It's time to go. And he's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So if you feel this way, that you're chopping the wood every single day and you continue going there expecting a different result, maybe you can learn something from that story. So she was screaming and he was like, no, changing the strategy. And so as he was sleeping and she went about the house, what can she do? The neighbor comes over. The neighbor found a treasure. And he needed something to carry that treasure. So because the wood chopper didn't chop the wood, he didn't use his mules on that day. So the neighbor says, oh, I see you have the mules free today. Can I borrow it? And this guy says, sure. He didn't even ask for the rental fee, you know. That's what we always do. Somebody offers us something, and we never offer something back. Can I have your mules? Sure. It'll cost you $300. No, he didn't say that. Fine. The mules went, the guy went, and our wood chopper is sleeping. And then later on this day, the neighbor got his treasure, he put it on the mules, and at that point the soldiers came, and the neighbor knew that this treasure does not belong to him, and maybe it's a king's treasure or somebody's treasure. So he got scared and he ran away, and the mules went to eat the grass, and then they were bored and they went back home, the only home they knew, because the mule strategy is to carry to the home the treasures or the wood, it doesn't matter what. So they went to their strategy. Chuk, 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 chuk. They come home, the wife comes out, looks around, and she sees the mules with lots of stuff on it. So she's like, husband, come over, our mules are back with something, I don't know what it is. And he's like, what's the point? I've chopped the wood all my life. I'm changing the strategy, but not really, because yes, he changed the strategy and he's laying in bed, but he's not coming out to see what else is available. Is that about you? Maybe you have something like that. So eventually she gets the matter into her own hands. She takes the knife, opens the socks, and the money flow, because there was a lot in this treasure chest. And she's screaming like crazy. He runs over to see what's going on with the wife, and he sees that, and he says, see, the fortune found us. So if you're like this wood chopper, and you're waiting for the fortune to find you in your bed, that's fine too, as long as you're no longer chopping the same wood, getting no results. But
Yes.
if you are given the fortune, if somebody asks you for the mules, at least get a rental fee, and at least get out of your bed to see what those mules are about and what is the fortune is about that came to you just because you've changed your strategy. So think about it. Find yourself in a story, because in every story there are many different archetypes, but this story is actually about the wheel of fortune. It's turning all the time. The question is, are you up and see the bigger picture, or are you down and forgot that you are the one to see the bigger picture? So keep going, because everything is cyclical. It will bring you up, and as you are there, which I told you in the very beginning, just close your eyes and see that moment when you are on the top. From there, keeping the strategy, start doing something. And if it doesn't work for you, stop chopping the wood. Change your strategy.
Change the strategy and stay open to the new knowledge. And it will be a pleasure for us to help you guys to build your own strategy based on the date of birth. And looking forward to hear from you questions and participations for the next time. Stay tuned.
Thank
Ciao.
you.